will actually get calls for this Victoria State nomination because they are the one of the first to open up for this financial year, and we submitted couple of good amount of applications last financial year as well. So this time they are pretty much keeping the same requirement to submit the application or process, but there are some flexibilities. So we'll just talk about the current one, and so that we don't to avoid confusion. As we know that there are two subclasses. One is 190, which is you can be anywhere in Victoria, doesn't really matter, metro, regional. And this one 491 is specifically for regional. So sometimes client will say that, okay, I'm in the regional but I want to go for 190. So for 491 there are some other requirements as well. So because not all occupations they will consider for 190. So let's start with 190 first, and I'll tell you that what will be the procedure. So first thing comes that who can apply. Okay, so before you submit the application, or we submit the application, we need to create an expression of interest on skill select. I have already shown you how to do that. So when most of the case will know how to do that. And so after the expression of interest, that's from a different website, we need to submit a registration of interest on this Live in Melbourne website. So on the registration of interest, they will ask a couple of questions, which I will be going through a little bit. So requirement would be that yes, so you need to submit the registration of interest and it needs to be selected. Before it is selected, we can't apply for a state nomination application. So that is the first requirement. You need to live and work in Victoria. So unlike Western Australia, I mean they will not consider if anyone is living outside Victoria. You need to be in Victoria, and you need to prove the residency as well. It can be a lease agreement, it can be bills, bank statement showing transactions. I mean there are different ways to do that. Now Victoria doesn't have any specific occupation list like Western Australia. They say that you work in your skilled occupation, it needs to be level 1 and 2 for 190 particularly. 491, it could be in any level, considering the fact that your occupation is in the SOL, Department of Home Affairs list. So you need to work in your Victorian target sector using your STEM skills. This thing is the new thing, I mean, which they added. It wasn't there before. So just to, I know we are aware of it, but I'll just tell what is the meaning of it. So science, technology, engineering, maths, medical. So you need to apply, you need to show that you are applying these skills. Certainly age is there, so it was there before. You must have at least competent English, so which is we consider to be 6 each or equivalent in IELTS. PT would be 50. You should have a valid skill assessment. Without that, they will not accept any application, and you can submit the expression of interest anyway. And you have at least 65 points. So before I proceed, I'll just show you that what are the target sectors here, and this is very important. And whenever client will come to us, client will ask that how I meet the requirement for this target sector, and we need to connect the dots based on their occupation. So I'll just quickly show the target sectors first. So number 1 is health, of course. So we can understand that what is the health sector. If they are working in the health sectors, yes, that's fine. For nursing occupations, they have specified some occupations which I'll show you. Not all the nursing occupations they will consider, but certainly they also mentioned something that based on the department's health advice, we can consider other nursing occupations as well. So we'll go through the nursing list first, later, but this is for the health. There is no specific requirement of the experience. If someone has just started to work, maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, something like that, just to have some pay slips. They will generally ask the latest one, but there is no specific work experience requirement. Medical research, it is self-explanatory. So if any institution is involved in medical research and that person is working in the medical research in his or her skilled occupation, that person will meet the requirement, but yes, need to use that STEM skills which we provided. Let's say someone is a mathematician working with just mathematical formulation or something, but in the medical research, and in terms of biomedical, maybe it could be, that person will also meet the requirement. Life sciences, certainly it's for the, let's say, it's already mentioned, pharmaceutical industry, it could be biotech, could be medical technology as well. We can also connect some sort of environmental sustainability if somehow we can compare it with the biodiversity. Food companies involved in food processing, they are also involved here. So there is an occupation called food technologist. Mostly they also work in this food processing industry. Chemist can also meet the requirement in this case. So we need to evaluate the profile based on that, and of course we need to see their work experience. Without the work experience, there is absolutely no chance from Victoria. And work experience should be ongoing. Let's say someone came to us saying that I work in life science sector for last 1 year. Now I'm not employed, I'm driving Uber. So they will not consider.
Didn't you say just before that they don't need any specific work experience?
Yeah, so I mean duration of the work experience is not, it's not specified.
Considered.
Yeah, so let's say you have just started to work 2 weeks, but you should be employed prior to the application submission. So I'll just go a little bit detailed about the information which I mentioned, that the target sector, supporting information. So there are some information which we need to also keep in mind. For example, question might come, okay, I'll show that I'm currently working. Is it part-time, full-time? How is it going to work? Because mentioned about Western Australia, that full-time employment they are asking for. They are asking everything. They are accepting everything this time. Casual, full-time, part-time doesn't really matter. But yes, you need to show that you have a valid contract, experience letter, everything. So casual is also okay. There is no restriction on the working hours. It can be less than 20 hours per week as well. So it's a good opportunity for our clients who are on a student visa and can't have TR. Maybe they are working on a casual basis. Mostly people working in the solar panel or something, they are working on casual basis. They are a student, they can't work full time. So this is a good opportunity for them. However, we also need to make sure that they are working in the closely related or nominated occupation. Already explained what is closely related. So this is what I have also mentioned. The next one, that they will not accept any employment which is not your nominated occupation. They have clearly provided an example here. Will not accept situations where you are working as a personal care assistant and your nominated occupation is software developer. It's not going to work. Even if you are working in the critical sector, it's good for your 408 visa, but no, Victoria will not consider. Then comes, you must support all of your claims of employment, like whatever you have, superannuation. Then you have the payslips, current employment contract. They mentioned that most recent payslip, so just one payslip should be fine. But if they have doubt or if they have request, they might send a request that okay, you are showing that you have been working for 3 months. Show the last 2 months of payslip. And when they do this request, they'll give you 14 days. And within 14 days, you need to submit it. Otherwise, they will refuse the application.
So this is at ROI stage?
No, this is for the second stage. When ROI is selected, when you submit the ROI, you will not upload any documents. You just provide the information just like the EOI.
Yeah.
This is if your ROI is selected, they will invite you to apply for state nomination application.
So this is the third stage, the nomination stage.
This is the second step. If it is approved, they will invite you to apply for 190 visa.
Sorry, just confirming. So the first stage was EOI, right?
EOI plus ROI. That's the first step.
All together
Yes.
one. Okay.
So target sectors we have already discussed, but here just look at the digital one which they have mentioned. Cybersecurity skills only for subclass 190. That is their preference. But other IT occupations, again, working in the health sector, they will consider as well. They might consider. 491, there is no restriction. All digital skills are okay. So certainly we'll share the page link, and then once you start counseling and then submitting the application particularly, so then you'll be able to understand. But even for Urdu, people will call because most of our clients are in Victoria, so they will ask for the Victoria nomination. So occupations, again, this thing I have already mentioned. STEM skills or qualifications, level 1 and 2. Skill assessment, you need to have valid skill assessment. Now something which I mentioned earlier, that not all nurses will be eligible. They have clearly specified a list for this, and it was there even previous financial year as well. So here is the list. So aged care, they have midwife, then critical care, mental health, perioperative, pediatrics. Now this one. We also select nurses on advice from Department of Health. So let's say someone who is a registered nurse NEC. So doesn't have any specification or specialization, let's say. Someone who doesn't have experience but has nursing qualification, bachelor's of nursing or something, mostly they get NEC one. So if that person is, let's say, working in a very good hospital, let's say working at Royal Alfred, for example, but doesn't have a specialization, but it's a good profile, they might consider. So we will try for their ROI as well. We'll not reject them. But we need to mention this thing to them, that while these are the requirements, but we can present your case in such a way so that it looks convincing.
What does NEC stands for?
Not elsewhere classified. I think I told you this thing before, because you're doing one engineering professionals NEC.
Yeah, I've seen that word a lot of time.
Yes. Now registration of interest, they said that there are further eligibility. So this thing I'll just quickly go through. I mean, I won't go one by one. I have already mentioned this thing. So living in Victoria, then you just show that you have that skills, you have the residency documents. That's the same thing. English language you must have at least competent. Points at least 65, but we always encourage our clients to increase their points. If someone might say that, okay, I have 65 submitted, yes, for health workers they are not very sensitive about the point requirement, but for engineers or other occupations, certainly they will also see that how many points they have. But it's not that with 65 there is no hope. Certainly if someone is a developer programmer, let's say working in the hospital, then 65 is also okay. So it depends on the profile and depends on the employer's profile as well. So rest of the things, I mean, this thing will come through, I mean, whenever if someone receives the invitation, it's not that important. Processing consideration, this is for, as I mentioned, that they will give us 2 weeks to submit the application. But however, if someone is just submitted the ROI, they don't have any obligation when they will give the update that whether you have been selected or not. Last time there was a specific window, but now this is nothing. So from July 7, they will start the window and they will run up to April 29 next year. There is no gap in between. However, we can't take it for granted.